Bookstahuda, hello! Welcome back to Bookstahuda on the road, because I'm apparently too lazy to film not when I'm driving these days. And it's a beautiful sunset. Thought you should have a shot of that for a moment. I finished V.E. Schwab's Shades of Magic series a few days ago, and I have a lot of feels and feelings, and I'm not the most energetic right now because I'm freaking exhausted. The first book I wanted to reread, which is Darker Shade of Magic, I wanted to reread that book before I read the second and third book, which is why I didn't read the second book right when it came out, even though I went and got it signed and bought it like when it was brand new. I wanted to reread it, but I didn't. I just jumped ahead into A Gathering of Shadows, and I'm so glad I did. I've gotten sick of magical tournaments, the Hunger Games type things, like Battle Royale plots, but of course it was B.E. Schwab, so she did it in a way that did not annoy me at all, because it's who she is. I think the book that ruined that for me is the Throne of Glass book, because I just found the whole tournament part of that book unnecessary. I feel like she could have skipped it and like gotten to the real whatever. I don't know. More thoughts on that series eventually sometime. I think because I didn't read the first book again before I read the second book, there was a bit of a lag in my mind, and I didn't have the characters fresh in my head. It had been since I started BookTube, really. So since 2015, in the summer of 2015, and now it's 2 years later when I'm reading the sequel, and I drank in A Darker Shade, the first book. I loved it. It was my first Victoria Schwab book that I read. It took me a while when reading A Gathering of Shadows to get the characters' voices back in my head and to get to like the characters again. I mean, I loved Kel, I loved the world. In the first book, I never really connected with Rye, and I finally trained myself to say Rye instead of Ree, so I'm proud of myself, because Victoria pronounces it Rye, therefore it must be Rye. I never really got him in the first book. My favorite character in the first book was Holland, and I do really like his character. I don't know, like, maybe it's just because I've matured as a reader. Not that Holland is not well formed, of course he is. He's a very great, complex character, but normally he's the exact kind of character that I would just absolutely fall in love with. A character who is tortured, who is misunderstood, is smart, is kind of snarky, but he's very broody. Like, he is the broodiest of broods. And I really maybe it's because I hadn't read the first book at the same time, and I'd forgotten most of what happened with Astrid and Athos Dane. So that's my bad, probably. I'm planning to reread the whole series again when the collector's edition comes out in October. I think it comes out on Halloween, actually. If you haven't seen this mock-up cover, or if you haven't seen the cover that is going to be on that collector's edition, which includes bonus content and a glossary of the Antari language and the Arnesian language, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah, that collector's edition is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the first cover is probably my favorite book cover of all time. It's absolutely beautiful. It's transcendent. It's black, white, and red, which are my three, like, I wear those colors all the time. They're my aesthetic. They're just absolutely perfect. And that book cover, like, there is no better book cover than that. And then they made the book cover of the collector's edition black and red and gold, and it's like it's somehow even more stunning. And I pre-ordered it like the day she announced it, because I was like, I am getting that. Oh, I really love Kel. I really had a great time with Delilah. I can't remember. I got Rye right, but I'm still not remembering Delilah. I say Leela in my head. I think I say Delilah Bard, but I say Leela Bard when it's just that part, so that doesn't make any sense. And I came around to love Rye, but my all-time favorite character is Alucard. He is just the best thing ever. I love him so much. He's so snarky and smart, and he's a fantastic magician. He's just fantastic, and I love him. So I really want more stories with him in it. I want to reread the series just because I want to be around that character again, and I really hope that V.E. Schwab writes more characters with his kind of personality, because so many of her characters have had such terrible lives that they aren't. I mean, somehow Alucard turns that into I mean, he uses humor as a defense, like a deflective mechanism rather than a defensive mechanism, and it's my favorite kind of humor, and he is so funny, and I laughed out loud like several times, and I don't do that very often while reading. I'll chuckle or like laugh in my head, but laughing actually out loud is rare. I mean, I really came to love Leela, and Victoria Schwab tweeted that she misses writing Delilah Bard, and I was like, write more! I really hope she writes. I mean, because the ending, spoiler time now, I haven't actually given away any plots yet, any plot points, I don't think. And the sun is right in my eyes. You guys want to put up with sunglasses for a little bit? Oh, spoiler time. Okay, so I can talk about the plot now. The plot of the trilogy wraps up really nicely, and I think the third book is where I really started to see the references to Harry Potter, or I started paying attention enough. Like, because the references to Harry Potter are all over the series, and Victoria Schwab is a great Harry Potter fan. I've always wanted to be Slytherin, but I'm just not that cool. Okay, so the end of the third book, and when I started looking for the references to Harry Potter, they became clear, and they retrospectively became clear to me as I was looking back at the series in my head, you know, piecing together events of the first book and second book. Because I read the second book over a long period of time. I think I started it at some point I don't know, I started it a while ago and then put it down for a while, not because I was bored, but because I just really wasn't reading very much. And then I decided to, you know, barrel down and finish it. And that was for her signing of our Dark Duet. But I had gotten so far into A Conjuring of Light by that point that I was just, you know, in love with the story, and I wanted to read to the end. And even though it took me like a few months to do it, well, not a few months, I think A Conjuring of Light took me only maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Like, I hadn't had a reading night, and I'm sure you readers out there, who else would be watching this, will know what I mean. I had a reading night a while ago. Like, I'd gotten up really late. I'd gotten up at like noon, and so I wasn't tired when my fiance went to sleep, and so I was like, I'll just read until I get tired. Whoa, you know, later, I ended up reading like 120 pages. I was up until like 2 a.m. and it was great because I haven't stayed up to read a book since the Poldark days. Okay, spoilers. Kel is given a chance to find out about his past. He is given a piece of paper that, you know, would reveal at least part of his history to him, and he is given the choice of whether or not to read it, and he decides not to read it because he accepts that his family is the one that he has. And I was really not expecting that. I was like, that's a really, you know, I thought he would find out, and that would be like kind of the crux of, or it would at least be part of the rising action, maybe part of the climax of the action. But it's a really interesting, it's not a move that is usually made, because in Chekhov's gun, if you put a gun, you know, if you put something on the table, usually it gets used. But in this case, it served a different purpose. Like, it was still used, but it was not used in the way I expected, which was, as always, refreshing and wonderful and just amazing. I hope we get to find that out someday. I would love to see more of Rye as king. I want all the Alucard Rye fluff. I'm so happy that there at least was some. Their reunion scene, I loved it. I am a giant Jack Harkness fan. Like, it's serious. I love Jack Harkness. I love the first 2 seasons of Torchwood. Seasons 3 and 4 are kind of meh. But seasons 1 and 2, before that was my Poldark before Poldark happened. I absorbed Torchwood, and I can't believe that I didn't realize how much of an homage to Jack Harkness Rye was until like the middle of A Conjuring of Light, the middle of book 3. Like, what's wrong with, I was too busy seeing Kel and Rye as an homage to Full Metal Alchemist's premise. Just, you know, how Alphonse is summoned back like Rye is summoned back. It's what it reminds me of, if it is not what inspired it. Sorry for the terrible angle. Oh. It's a fantastic series. I really recommend it if you haven't checked it out. I will talk to you again later, not from that angle, and not with the sun right in my face, I hope, although it does make for good lighting. So, thank you for Books to Huda Roading on the Road. God, I'm tired. Thank you for watching Books to Huda on the Road. I will hopefully get to film a real video soon. Peace out. Also, the cover of Tower of Dawn that is circulating the internet, the cover that, you know, a fan-made cover is way better than the one the publishers made. They should buy that cover, whoever made it, and pay them and use it. Like, people are mad about it, and I think it's funny. This is gonna be a really fun video to edit. Half of it's gonna be me going like, and the other half will be, what was I saying? Oh God, what was I saying? Anyway, so what was I saying again?